Good morning, Louise,
Morning, Rob.
and morning to everybody watching this episode of God is Supernatural. Our verse, if you don't know it, is 1 Corinthians 2:4. My message and my preaching were not with wise and persuasive words, but with a demonstration of the Spirit's power. And in verse 5, so that your faith might not rest on human wisdom, but on God's power. We are all about encouraging every Christian to walk into their destiny, which is to be spiritual beings who move and walk in power. So we got a great testimony from the last uh, Deliverance from Evil Spirits coaching class, which was a great morning. We've had a few good mornings and good events. So we've got loads of testimonies coming up, guys. But actually, this is just a great testimony in terms of the value of experience and I guess also confidence, because we do have many prayer situations, don't we, Louise, where they come to an end prematurely when
Mm,
that's not what the Holy Spirit wants, and actually the work of healing isn't really being done, but simply because people don't really know what to do. They don't really know how to take it deeper, do they?
yeah, and I think sometimes people are a little bit kind of put off by silence, and it might seem like if
Yeah,
the person that you're praying for kind of makes a move to sit down and, open their eyes and kind of act like the prayer time is over, you can sometimes just go with that, can't you? And actually, the Holy Spirit wants to do more. And if you just linger in his presence and just connect and wait,
yeah.
um, there's often more work to be done, which is what I think you experienced.
Yeah, it certainly was, and that meant, and you've got it exactly as well. Just the the silence and the quietness where the Holy Spirit is working, but if you don't have a confidence as a minister that that is what is happening,
Mm.
it's very easy to think, okay, nothing's happening, and we won't take this any further. But yeah, we absolutely had that. So let me just tell you about it. It was someone that I was praying with a colleague. So it was a lady who had come for ministry because she was addicted to smoking and cigarettes, and her body just experienced pain all over. I think pretty well all the time. So her body was racked in pain. And she'd experienced a lot of rejection from her family. Um, and she had come to a place where she knew she had to forgive them, which is what she did. And then, interestingly, having forgiven them, she kind of went into that. Oh, so it's done now, is it? And
Yeah.
if it had been a less experienced team, that's all it
Could
would
have.
have amounted to. Yeah, not a lot more would have happened. So, but we didn't allow that. So this is her story. So those were all the kind of the circumstances that she was wanting prayer for. So we invited the Holy Spirit to come on her to minister to her, and she was experiencing peace. And peace is often very quiet, but it's very powerful. So you want that to continue. So she was experiencing genuine peace, and then we asked her what was happening, and she said she was experiencing pain at the base of her spine. Um, so we prayed for that, and her lower back and the pain disappeared after a few minutes. And at that point, she was able to forgive her family. So there was a kind of a progression that had to take place before she could properly just surrender all
Mm.
the situation with her family. And the Holy Spirit just continued to be on her quite gently, but also quite powerfully. At one point, she was standing up, but she had to hold my hands and my colleague's hands, otherwise she was going to fall over. She was tottering a bit. And then by this point, she was now sitting down, and we were praying for cleansing, just complete cleansing from within. Can't remember why we were doing that right now, but her experience was interior heat throughout her entire body, which is interesting. I don't know if you've come across that yourself, Louise, and people that you prayed for.
I haven't had it, and it's such an immense situation. But I remember you've had that before when you've been praying with somebody, to the extent that glasses steamed up. Yeah,
Yes, that's
amazing.
right. She was also heat on her body, but also in her body. So yeah, I just
Yeah,
can't imagine what that must feel like to have this heat in the interior of your body. I know what it's like to feel hot, which is your thermal changes on your skin. But gosh, yeah. So just within her entire body. So it really felt like the Holy Spirit was entering her as the temple of as his temple and
mm,
cleansing and healing the whole thing. And so that was going on. And so the kind of the cleansing bit now I think comes into view because while that was going on, suddenly her face became really clammy.
mm,
Do you know when you have a funny turn and just that perspiration just breaks out? So we could see her face had become really clammy, and she was also swallowing, and it was like there was something stuck in her throat. So we just asked her what was going on, and she said that she felt that something had risen to her throat and was lodged in her throat. So I think that's just really interesting because the Holy Spirit was within her, this
yeah,
heat entirely within her body, and then this that had also been within the body now being forced to her throat where it was clinging
mm,
on. So we encouraged her to just put a hand on her throat while we prayed, and we prayed it out. And that took several minutes, but finally then that had gone. The clamminess disappeared. And at that point it was done. But this was like 30 minutes.
yeah,
Whereas uh, when she had forgiven her family, that was probably after something like 5 minutes, and she was thinking it was all done at that point.
yeah,
There was so much more to do.
yeah.
To,
So
to,
much could have been missed. And I think after you finished praying for her, she went off. I don't know, to get refreshments or something, and she said she just felt so light. In her testimony afterwards, she felt light as she walked down the corridor and knew that work had been done. But she
yeah,
couldn't really say more than that, could she? She was just so overwhelmed by what God had done. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, in fact, when she was sharing her testimony, she just broke down in
yeah,
tears, didn't she? Um, and said, I finally feel free. I
yeah,
finally feel free. Now, I mean, now I know and you know because we prayed with a lot, many people. There may still be more work to be done, but actually, those breakthroughs of freedom are overwhelming. Uh,
yeah,
you do feel it's just, even though there may be more to be done that you're unaware of at that moment, you feel just in a new person.
yeah. A new lightness, isn't there?
Yeah,
And
and
God is gracious and doesn't deal with it all in one go. Just like we often say, it's like peeling an onion, isn't it?
it is.
Layer, layer. Yeah,
Yeah, totally, and we know that from our own personal walks with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. So, guys, I want to encourage you. When you're praying, it is a journey, and you are cooperating with the Holy Spirit. And just because somebody else feels it's done and you've only really just started, don't allow that. If you've got plenty of time, use the time. Allow the Holy Spirit to minister. Engage with the person. What are they experiencing? What is the Holy Spirit doing with them? You will see so much more happen. And this level of, I mean, she felt like an overwhelming sense of freedom and breakthrough at the end of it. That wouldn't have been her experience if we had just taken our cue from her that she thought it was done, when it really wasn't. We had just scratched that surface. So God bless you. God bless you in your ministry. Be confident. Be bold. The Lord is with you.